to What the Film, episode 3? Well, technically 5, but really it's 3. Ethan's dancing over there. We're
Oh,
having a
you know
grand
it.
old time right now. How's it going, Ethan?
It's so going right now.
Mm-hmm. It
That's
is.
all I got, We're going.
Yeah. No hey, hi, hello?
Hey, hi, hello. It's your co-host Ethan Kaufman. How we all
Mm-hmm.
doing? You can't answer. This is pre-recorded, but we're
Yeah.
here. We're podding. You know how
Yeah.
it is.
Answer in your mind for us. All right, well, we have a lot to talk about today, so I think we should really
Yes.
dive right in. We're going to start off
Vibes.
with our Oscar rankings here, our fun little game for the episode. The way we're going to do this is we have our Oscar top 10, but then after that, rather than 11 through 15, what we've picked are just 5 wild cards. So these wild cards could be 11 through 15, but they
Which
could
for me, they
also
kind of
be.
are.
For me, they're not. I tried for them not
Okay.
to be. I have like my 11, but then the rest of them are a little more far-fetched because I wanted to have some fun with it. More like big reaches because I just thought it would make this a little more interesting. So I think we're just start off with wild cards.
Yeah.
And then also I'm thinking we cap us rambling about a movie to 30 seconds.
Ooh, dang.
How's that feel?
I feel like because we are going to do the thing where, like, if we both have the same one, we both talk about it at once. I feel like maybe up it a little bit, but
1 minute.
yeah.
There, you should set your phone up too with a 1 minute timer. That way, when you're rambling, you can 1 minute it up.
I feel like I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to have you do is just cut me off when I've been talking too long. And that way it really puts the pressure on me to just say the important things right away because I don't know when I'm going to get cut off.
I love that. Okay. I love cutting you off. It's
I know
amazing.
you do.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you more opportunities to do it because I know how much you love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. So, Ethan, with that being said, I think you should be the first person to unveil your first wild card.
Wild. All right. I'm just going to get into it just right now.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. Okay. My first wild card is The Apprentice, which I do not think is going to get a Best Picture nomination, but it could. I think Sebastian Stan doing Trump, especially in an election year, watch out for him for Best Actor. I think Jeremy Strong, obviously we've already talked about him a little bit, is definitely going to be in contention for Supporting Actor. And I think hearing what you had to say about it out of Cannes, hearing what everybody else had to say out of Cannes, it could have been better, it sounds like. I don't think it's a Best Picture lock like it might have been before Cannes, but I think it still has good chances in a couple of major categories. That's what I got to say about that.
Wow. Short and sweet. I love that. That was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with all these things as somebody that has seen The Apprentice. And my one thing is just that it might not come out. So my first wild card is Mufasa.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I wanted to go a little crazy here.
You're getting jiggy with it.
You want to know why I have
Why?
Mufasa? 2 words. Barry Jenkins.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, those are 2 very strong words and why this film is here. I also just really appreciate it because it's not like a remake. It is its own original Lion King story that just happens to be like a sequel, prequel to the live action Lion King remake. But like it is its own thing. So I appreciate that, and that's why I think it could be getting some more Oscar attention. Also kind of hoping that maybe they consider it for Best Animated because it really is all animation.
Please don't.
We'll see. we will see. That's kind of all I got. I'm optimistic because Barry Jenkins.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't seem optimistic.
Vibes. I don't think so at all. I feel like I look at something like James Mangold doing Ford v Ferrari, which was an Oscar movie, and then Indiana Jones 5, which score, but that doesn't even count. I don't know. I just don't want it to be acknowledged by the Academy. That would suck.
Well, what if it ends up being good, and what if you like it?
Well, if it ends up being good, that's a different story, but I don't think it will be good. So currently, this is where we're at.
That's fair. I put it here like with the possibility that it could be good. That's why it's
the
here.
name
Anyways,
of the game today is rigidity and stubbornness. So I'm just sticking with that for now.
Okay, you go for it.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your second wild card?
Sticking with our Succession boys, I have A Real Pain, which is the upcoming movie from Jesse Eisenberg,
Mm-hmm.
where he is writing it, and I think potentially has a good shot at getting an original screenplay nomination for it. And then you
Mm-hmm.
have Kieran Culkin in supporting actor, which I think is going to happen. It sounds like he's very good. I've heard a lot of buzz since this is like screened at all, and it would just be really cool to have the Roy boys there together. I
Yeah,
want that.
imagine if our Succession boys are both in supporting actor. Wouldn't that be
I
really
need
cool?
that to happen so bad.
And you want to know something really funny?
Is this one of yours too?
This is my like wild card that I consider my number 11. This is like on the brink for me. You know, I
Epic.
feel like just kind of with what it's talking about, with essentially these two like Jewish brothers going to revisit Poland to kind of go and see what happened for themselves during the Holocaust and revisiting that. I think that that's relevant to what's going on today, where we are a world experiencing genocide today. Obviously, I don't want to get too into that because it's not my expertise personally, so I'm not too qualified to talk about that. But I think that that could have some relevance in the Oscars just kind of because of that, you know? And if
Yeah.
it sort of comes from a campaign of like something similar to A Zone of Interest, where it's talking about how this movie is relevant because we are going through genocides now type of deal, I think that that
Yes.
could help.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So that's all.
Ooh.
What was your first wild card again, by the way? Oh yeah, The
My first one was
Apprentice.
The Apprentice.
Yes,
Yes.
I don't know how I forgot, but yes. Well, since you unveiled A Real Pain for me, how
I
about
did.
you
You
go
should go.
through another
Oh.
wild card?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll do my fun. I'll do my fun pick, which is
Okay.
Challengers.
Challengers.
Um, this is me being biased because I have
Mm-hmm.
seen this in theaters 6 times, and of course I
Uh-huh.
want it to be nominated. But I think it has a shot in a couple spots. I think Zendaya for lead actress is probably my number 6 right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think actress has a couple people, one of which I'll get to in a minute, who are not attached to Best Picture nominees, and I think being attached to a Best Picture nominee definitely helps get nominated.
It
And so,
definitely
if
does.
something like Amy Adams and Night Bitch, which is not on here for me, just doesn't hit right with the Academy, I think maybe she could squeeze in. I think original screenplay it has a shot. Justin Kuritsky's obviously I think is going to be nominated at least once this year. And initially I was hesitant to say original screenplay too, but because Queer is adapted, I think it's more likely that he gets two instead of like if he were twice in one category,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. So it
Yeah.
feels less like
Your
he's
your
taking
minute
up
is
someone
up.
else's spot. Oh no, and then score because like
Yeah.
score.
Because
Yeah.
score. Well, you know what's funny? I also have challengers in my wild card,
Let's go.
but for a different reason.
Oh,
I have it here because, like, for the possibility that Queer just does not come out this year,
okay.
because Queer does not have a distributor right now.
Isn't it playing at Venice though?
It is playing at Venice, but it just doesn't have a distributor yet. If it ends up not coming out until next year, I think that means it's considered for next year's Oscars.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. If it comes out next year, or if it just doesn't get bought, I think Challengers will kind of slide into the place of Queer's contention. Kind of
Playing devil's advocate though,
unveiling.
I don't think that Challengers is going to get like this Oscar reappraisal if Queer doesn't come out. I don't think cuz right now it's not looking great. Maybe it gets a couple nominations. I feel like that's the ceiling. I don't think
Mhm.
all of a sudden it's going to be like, "Oh, Queer's not coming out. Now Challengers basically takes up whatever Queer was taking up." I feel like that's not going to happen.
I don't think it's going to take up all of what Queer is taking up, but I think it'll get more attention than it would if Queer was coming out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like a comparison that you could make with Ridley Scott when he had Last Duel and House of Gucci coming out
Yeah.
that same year. Last Duel would have done better if House of Gucci didn't also happen to come out.
True.
Yeah.
But also Challenger
kind of valid? I
should
don't know.
win Best Picture and get 3 acting awards, 2 of which are in the
Yes.
same category. I don't care.
Mhm.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with you. It's not going to happen though. Well, because you've taken two, I want to give away my own wild
Please,
card.
please do.
You know, Bob Marley, One Love.
You know what? You do you.
And this is for one award here, that
And
being
that
Best
is
Actor.
okay.
I think Kingsley Benadir. I don't think he's a front runner, but I think that he's a solid wild card for Best Actor. He plays Bob Marley in the movie that did kind of resurge the box office this year. We were looking really bad until Bob Marley for the year. So I think that there's that kind of narrative.
I'm gonna fight you so hard on that because I
Okay.
think had this come out late last year and been like more Oscar time, maybe. But I think it's so early. There seems to be like this is the first time I've talked about this movie since we last talked about it. I have
Mhm.
not heard anybody discussing it.
That's
Yes.
fine. That's fair. Well, how about you give us your second to last wild card?
Yes, I have Maria. This is the new Pablo Larraín biopic. Is this Don't tell
Hmm.
me this is your last. Don't tell me I took
No,
another
it's
one.
it's not. You
Okay.
didn't.
Okay. It is, I believe, written in the Bible, thou shalt nominate the lead of a Pablo Larraín biopic for Best Actress. I think it's just a thing. Because,
Hmm.
like, it happened with Natalie Portman, it happened with Kristen Stewart, and I think it's going to happen again with Angelina Jolie. I don't think it really is contending anywhere besides actress, but, like, I feel good in this. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you should feel good about it. I think that
Yeah.
for Best Actress, it has a really solid shot. Also, you never know. No one's really seen this film yet. So if it ends up being like a more regular type of movie rather than Spencer, which I think was a little more out there, could contend for other stuff. So I'm not going to fight you on this
Perhaps.
at all.
There's no reason to bet against it.
Yeah, exactly. I almost put this as a wild card, and it felt just like it felt too much in the veil of a real pain for me, where it just felt
Okay.
too realistic, and I wanted to
Not
go a
fun
little
enough.
crazier. Yeah. So
So what's your last one?
my last one, which I feel like could be your last one,
I feel like it might be.
Gladiator 2.
Yup.
Yep. Okay. I had a good feeling. Yeah, it's Gladiator 2. The set photos of Paul Mescal, I saw those. I don't know if you have. He
I
looks
have.
great.
He
You
looks
know,
awesome.
he looks amazing. Those alone made me remove, I think, Maria and put Gladiator 2 here.
Yeah.
So I don't have much more of an explanation aside from the fact that it's Gladiator 2 and maybe it's good. Shall we move into our top 10?
Let's do it. Let's have you go first since I stole so many from you.
All right, well, I'm going to do Nickel Boys.
Oh,
Do you have
snap.
this?
I have this at number 9.
Okay, so we're pretty close on here. For me, MGM has always had at least one thing these past few years. Um, they had American Fiction. They had what else? They had Being the Ricardos, and then they had Sound of Metal just in the past few years. This is also coming from the same production studio as films like Moonlight, Minari, and Women Talking, as well as 12 Years a Slave. So a lot of big Oscar type of films have come from that production studio, and lately MGM has had a big Oscar film every year since the pandemic. So I just think that that sort of combination, even though this is a directorial or a fictional feature film directorial debut for the director, because he's done a documentary before,
Those
but
don't
not like
count.
a narrative feature film.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of a directorial debut, and no one really knows a lot about it. I have it here.
I know barely anything about it, but just from the few things I've heard, it sounds like it's going to be one of those that doesn't really win anything, but it just kind of squeezes in a couple categories. Like I have it right now in picture, supporting actress, adapted screenplay, just stuff like that. It'll pop up, I think,
Yeah, I think it's
assuming
going
it's
to pop
good.
up a lot. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Well, Ethan, how about you take the next one?
My number 10 is The Seat of the Sacred Fig, which,
My number
where's this
eight.
for you? Okay. I didn't know that much about it last time we talked about it, and since then, since like all of my YouTube people have done like post can best picture rankings, and I've seen this now everywhere, I cannot deny putting it in my top 10. I think the narrative that this director has of like escaping his country to essentially make this, and it's like protesting Iran like
Yep.
very intensely,
Hmm.
especially this year. I think it is something the Academy is going to take very well to. And so I
Yeah.
would not be surprised if this got a director nomination. I think original screenplay potentially is in the cards. Last time we talked about it, we kind of compared it to RRR a little, where it's like it's not being submitted for international feature because Iran is not going to do that. But in its place, it will probably scoop up other nominations here and there because
Hmm.
there's just that much passion for it.
Yeah.
So it is my number 10.
I would compare it more to Anatomy of a Fall, to be
Yeah,
honest, because France didn't submit
right.
Anatomy. So I feel like it's going to be pretty big. I don't know about wins, but I think nominations it could do really well.
Yeah.
The other issue is that Neon has two really big, or really three contenders. I don't
Yeah,
have The End on my list, but The
me
End
neither.
is sort of an honorable mention kind of film. I think that could be a contender, but definitely Seed, and then one other film that I bet we both have pretty high up.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a lot for me. It's the story of the director, the story of the cast, how two of them are barred from leaving Iran and being investigated by the government, and then the film itself that interrogates, Iran's abuse of women and really focuses on this one moment where the police abused this woman for not wearing her hijab and killed her. So for a film to really rebel against a country like this, I think it's just really powerful. And I hope and think that the Oscars will give it some sort of recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
What
that's
you
why we
got in
got
your
it where
number
it is.
9?
My number 9 is going to be the one and only Conclave.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you have Conclave
This
at all?
is this is my number 6.
Whoa, okay, so this is a bit of a bigger one for you. This one was
Yes.
higher for me until Cam, and then I just kind of
Okay.
like lowered it below a few things. So, anyways, my explanation with Conclave is it's not just here because it's the second film from Edward Berger. I don't think that that's enough to warrant it being here, even though Edward Berger did do All Quiet on the Western Front. My big things is Focus Features. This is going to be their big Oscar push for the year. They had Holdovers, they had Tar, they had Belfast in the past 3 years. Always
Don't
have a
mention
contender.
Belfast. Don't
This
do that.
is this is coming out November 1st, so really good Oscar slot for Conclave, but also it just sounds like a very interesting film about selecting a new pope within the 72-hour time span. So it's going to feel like a political thriller, but with popes. Also, Ray Fiennes, Stanley Tucci. So yeah.
Yes.
Do you have anything else?
I have it in those 2 acting nominations. I also have supporting actress. It's just like the cast seems awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think Edward Berger being more established now definitely helps because like I know the Academy loves war movies, so like All Quiet I think was going to do well kind of no matter who was behind it, just like it being as good as it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like he didn't get a best director nomination. I think if he was more established then he would have, and now I might put it in for director. I think definitely screenplay just with the type of movie this is. And so assuming it is as good as it sounds, there are just so many places to squeeze it in that like it's got to be my number 6. I can't justify it being lower than that.
Yeah, that's fair. My justification is what if it's not as good as we think it's going to be?
Potentially.
Edward Berger directed a war film. This is a very different kind of
It
movie.
is.
So it could be a miss. So I just don't want to assume that it's going to be a hit yet.
This is assuming it is a hit. I also like you have can bias, you know many movies that are already definitely good,
Mhm.
whereas like I'm feeling a little more comfortable taking swings.
Oh, also one other thing.
Yes.
I would say that 1914 is probably better than All Quiet. Would you agree?
As in 1917,
Sorry,
that one.
1917. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. So if Sam Mendes' directorial debut was 1917 And then his follow up, Empire of Light, sounds interesting.
Okay.
And then comes out. And do you enjoy Empire of Light?
I haven't seen it, and I
I
don't
haven't
think I would
either.
enjoy it, but he
Yeah.
also directed the Best Picture winner from 25 years ago, so I don't think that's a fair comparison.
No, my point is just like,
I gotcha.
you
I
know,
gotcha.
just because you can direct a really, really good war film doesn't necessarily mean that the next thing you do is going to be amazing.
Right. But I also, again,
Yeah.
think it depends on what that next thing is, and I do
Mm-hmm.
have confidence in this.
Okay. I really hope so. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, what's your number 8 or
My
number
number
9?
eight. My number 8. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because your 9 is Nickel Boys. All right, so
That
what's your
is
number 8?
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
My number 8 is the piano lesson.
Okay. Not
I
my
feel like this,
list.
it's not, yeah. A lot of people don't have it on their list, and maybe it's because I'm stupid and just don't know enough about it. Samuel L. Jackson. Logan. Samuel L. Jackson.
That's one guy.
He is easily my number 1 pick right now for supporting actor, and I
Wow.
think that narrative is very strong. I know Danielle Deadwyler is like going to be a major contender, I think, in supporting actress. I think this potentially gets a screenplay nomination. I would, like I said with Conclave, it really depends on just if it's good and how good it is. And so, similar to that, if it is not as good as I'm thinking it has the potential to be, it is definitely not in my 10. But off of those 2 acting nominations, I just think it is something that people are going to respond to. I could be totally wrong. I very well might be. But if I am right, and the acting is just that strong, I think this squeezes in as like one of the lower tier Best Picture nominees.
Gotcha. That's
Yeah.
totally valid.
I feel like that wasn't that great of a defense.
My argument against it. Oh, that was your timer for your 1 minute. So good job being under a minute.
Thank you.
So, anyways, my argument against it is Malcolm Washington just being an unknown director, and how good of a director actually is he? Is he getting this gig for nepotism, or is he getting this gig because he actually has talent? We're gonna find that out, and I hope it's good, but we don't really know. And also,
Yeah.
I feel like Netflix picking up Amelia Perez felt like a sign to me
Okay.
that there just wasn't necessarily as much confidence in the piano lesson. Because I feel like Amelia Perez, it's going to be divisive amongst regular audiences, but I think for awards, it could be kind of big. We'll talk about it later because it is on my list somewhere.
Figured.
And yeah, so that's kind of why I don't have the piano lesson here. It would be an honorable mention for me, though. It was on my YouTube video discussing all this.
Yeah.
Also,
I think a lot of these are gambles just because it's like
Yeah.
it's mid June. I'm comfortable being wrong on most of these.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna be wrong on most of these.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen. One thing I want to clear quickly: I said "Seed of the Sacred Fig" was my number 8. It's actually my number 7 because my number 8
snap! You lied.
Is Queer.
Vibes.
Where is this on your list?
This is my number 7.
Okay, so we're very close on a lot of these, which is kind of fun. So, we're on the same wavelength. Look at this. This is insane.
We think the same.
We do. It's kind of nuts.
It is. It's wild.
Wild. So, anyways, I have Queer here because it's Luca Guadagnino with Justin Kuritzky's and same cinematographer, Daniel Craig, who I think is my number 2 for Best Actor.
Mine too.
Just a really interesting sounding film that I want to see. Also, it's 3 hours.
That's nuts. I didn't know.
Probably going to get cut down. But
I would hope
right
so.
now, supposedly 3 hours.
Okay.
Which is kind of insane. So yeah, I'm excited for this film. I think it's going to be beautiful. I think it's supposed to be in Mexico. Yeah. Probably going to be Italy's submission for the Best International, I would guess, because Guadagnino, I think his films count as Italian films for that. I think so, because Amelia Perez counts as a France film.
Yeah.
because of Jacques Audiard. Yeah. Anyways, that's why I have queer here.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think a lot of it is going to depend on if there is enough passion for challengers to where it is actually contending anywhere, because if it is, it hurts this for sure. That being said, I think this is a Best Picture nominee. I think Daniel Craig is a number 2 for actor as well. I think probably director, adapted screenplay, maybe even supporting actress, squeezing in a couple places. Reznor and Ross are doing the score. So if Challengers doesn't get in, I think this probably does. Yeah, I'm hype. Like you
Me
said
too.
before, as long as it like comes out, I think I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I
Kind of
also
covered
think it
everything.
could get goodwill from challengers if challengers isn't necessarily a contender, where it's just like
Yeah.
these are all the same people as challengers. And like if Oscar people don't see nominations for challengers, but they like challengers and see that those same people are getting nominations for queer, they could be like, oh, well, we liked their other movie and we also kind of like queer. Let's give it to these people
Yeah, I think
who
given
just
the
made
release
two
dates
great
and just
films
the
in a year.
kind of movies that they are going to pick this over
Me
Challengers,
too. That's
but
what I'm
all of the
thinking.
love they give to Challengers, they're just kind of going to direct this way.
That's kind of what I'm anticipating as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, I would like, I think, to reveal one more because you have 5 right now and I have
Yes.
4 unveiled.
Piano
So
Lesson was not on your list.
it was not. So my number 6 is Joker Folie à Deux.
Vibes.
Where's this on your list? Is it on your list?
It's my number 5.
Yeah, okay. Kind of figured it was somewhere. Um, I mean, look at the trailer. That's
Yeah,
kind of like just it's gorgeous.
it is.
It's Joker Folie à Deux. I mean, it also just seems to be more original and risky than the first Joker. And the first Joker, despite copying King of Comedy, was still a hugely successful film at the Oscars. So I expect this film, which seems like it's not fully ripping off another movie, to also be hugely successful. Also, Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
What about you?
I agree. Lady Gaga is my best actress pick right now, I think.
Wow.
I also think Joaquin Phoenix is going to be nominated. Has no chance because he has already won for this role. But I
Mm-hmm.
do think like they might throw him in there just again. This is going to get a lot of technical nominations:
Mm-hmm.
cinematography, score, production design, hair and makeup, costumes. I think it has a good shot in a lot of places.
I don't think it's going to win
Um,
any of them, though.
I don't think it's going to win any
I
of
think
them, but I
Warner
think
Bros. Is sort of messing with themselves
a
because they
little
have
bit.
this competing with another movie
Is it really? Are they
in a
really
lot of
messing
these
with themselves
technicals.
when they are winning out in the end, though?
Well, yeah, because this is going to make $1 billion. So yeah,
Yeah,
they are winning
like
out.
the first Joker had 11 nominations, which was the most of any other movie that year. And while this is a sequel, and so that freshness is kind of gone, there's still like it's an Oscar movie. We're talking about it. I think
Yeah,
it's not going to be as successful, but it will still perform very well. I think in a lot of places,
exactly.
and he's doing something new,
Yeah,
and they'll like
he
that.
is doing something new. So, would you like to unveil your next one?
I shall. At number 4, I have Blitz.
That is my number 5.
Oh snap! You're
Whoa.
really putting Amelia Perez as high as I thought you were going to. Okay.
Yeah, and you
I
have
didn't
Amelia
know if you
Perez
would.
nowhere.
Because I knew you were going to have it here, and so I put Piano Lesson on mine because I didn't think you would. It was a strategic choice. It paid off, you know?
It did pay off. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Anyway,
talk about Blitz.
Blitz, Steve McQueen, period piece, World War One, Saoirse Ronan, very good stuff. I
You
think
didn't
this
say
is good.
Harris Dickinson.
Sorry, him too.
You should be apologizing to him.
I should. I think this is going to be the movie that gets just a ton of nominations and wins absolutely nothing. You kind of have one of those every year, and I think
Yeah.
there are a good 2 movies that are being nominated in all the same places this is, to where it's just not going to win. But like Steve McQueen for director, I think is just a very strong. Like I wouldn't lock it in, but he's up there. I
Mm-hmm.
think original screenplay for sure, Saoirse Ronan for best actress, and then it's a period piece. So like production, maybe throw costumes in there. It's like it's a World War One editing. They like that for World War One,
Yeah.
and yeah,
It's
yeah,
also from the civilian perspective in London while they're getting bombed. So maybe
which
even
is awesome.
VFX.
Love that. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, also sad.
yes, but
Devastating.
devastating. But hey, the Academy responds to that.
They do. Well, I will unveil my number 4. Take a wild guess what it is.
Is it Amelia Perez, Logan?
It is Amelia Perez.
Finally. Oh my gosh.
I wanted to put it higher.
I'm sure you
really wanted to put it higher.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I was just like, at some point I need to stop.
Yeah.
So I'm stopping at number 4. Just because I think our top 3 is a very strong top 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Amelia Perez. I talked about it in the Cannes one, so I'm kind of just rehashing what I talked about. But at the end of the day, this is a film that is a musical, a genre that I think the Oscars can really strongly connect with if it works. I think the musical elements of this film do work. It is about the head of a cartel transitioning to being a woman and then later trying to reconnect with her family. I just think that sort of messaging is something that we've never seen from the Oscars before, and this film gives them that opportunity to push that message, because I think it's a message that they do want to push. Not to mention that Carla Sofia Gascon could be making history as the first ever transgender actor to win an Oscar.
Vibes.
And I think her performance is that good. And I think she is my number 1 at Best Actress for
Vibes.
sure. You also have Zoe Saldana and Selena Gomez, who I think could both get nominated for Best Supporting.
Yeah.
Selena Gomez is not in the movie as much, but she has this whole narrative that she's already started at Cannes, where she had to relearn Spanish for this film. So I think that could be enough of a narrative where it's like, oh my God, this film made Selena Gomez relearn Spanish. Let's give her an Oscar nomination.
Woo!
And also she has a really good musical number in this film. Zoe Saldana has multiple really good musical numbers in this movie, but Selena Gomez has like one big standout that could be the one that they end up pushing for Best Original Song, because at least one of the songs here will get pushed for Best Original Song. At least
probably
one.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Probably 2.
Also, possibly The French Submission, like I was saying before, because of Jacques Audiard. Amazing ensemble. Even though it won 3rd place at Cannes, it was the only film that won 2 of the major awards at the festival this year, and that is something that doesn't happen a lot, where one film gets recognized for 2 major awards. A lot of times you'll see one win 2nd place and then the queer Dior or something like that. But
they also split actress for everyone because there's just that much passion for the whole cast.
I think also because there's not, when you watch the film, there's not a clear lead actress. It's very much an ensemble film, but I'm assuming that when we get to the Oscars, it's going to be Carla Sofia Gascon at lead and Saldana and Gomez at supporting.
Okay.
Anyways, I think I went over a minute, but
yeah, not that I'm timing, but you're like way over a minute.
Yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah. See, that's why I
am the Oscar campaign.
That's why I didn't put it on my list. I just knew you were going to talk about it this much. If I'm being honest, it might be in my 10. I don't know. I didn't see it, so I think I'm less biased towards it. I think the only thing holding it back, I see a world where it's just not in there, where like certain people, you, hopefully myself, really vibe with it, but the ones who don't, there's enough of them that it like doesn't cross that threshold of being in the 10.
Yeah.
However, if it's a hit, it maybe could jump to like this number 4 spot that you have it in. I don't know.
My argument against that is, remember what people said about a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yes.
Pretty much what you just said. And what did that movie do?
Different movies. Different
movies, but pretty much saying, oh, we don't think that this movie is our number 1 because we don't think it's going to be able to connect with enough people. And it swept.
Let's come back when it's
I'm not
actually
saying
out.
I'm not saying that it's going to be as big as Everything Everywhere. I think that that's
Would
impossible.
hope not.
Yeah, I also hope not. I love this film, but I want the Oscars to be more competitive. My
Yeah.
point is that I just don't think that the argument of not being able to connect with enough people is a good enough argument to not include a film anymore because of something like
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere.
Just for the record, I didn't include it because I knew you would. It is on
Yeah,
my radar. I do
I
think it's
know, I
going
know.
somewhere. All right. We have the same top three.
But we don't know what order it's in.
We don't. And I'm curious if we have the same order. I don't think we
Well,
do.
what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Anora.
Oh,
Yeah, we
that's
don't.
my number 1.
Yeah, I knew it.
Wow. Well, because I've
I was
seen it.
yeah, you've seen it, so you like it more than me.
Yeah, well, because you don't know how much you
That's how
like
it works.
Okay, you go.
All right. Neon has won the Palme d'Or the last 5 times now. And if we take Anora out of it and we just focus on those last 4, 3 of them were nominated for Best Picture. All 3 of them were nominated for Best Director. And the one that was not an ensemble was nominated for Best Actress. The stats don't lie. They don't. That's what I got. You talk about it.
You want to know why I have it at my number 1?
Because you're going to say Sean Baker?
No, because all those films were international films. This is an American movie. For what
America does like America.
Is an American award show that has
That's
very
true.
much shown bias towards American films because in its history, only one international film has won Best Picture, that being Parasite, which was a Neon Palme d'Or winner. And ever since Parasite, all these Neon Palme d'Or films, minus Titan, have been doing really well.
Yeah.
Despite all being international films. But now we have an American Neon Palme d'Or winner. So I just think that that's going to multiply the just impact of this film. We also just don't have something like an Oppenheimer this year or an Everything Everywhere. We just don't have that kind of film that's going to really sweep everybody off their feet and make them bow down and give them every single award known to man.
Yes.
So I think that helps a movie like Anora that's a little smaller. Also, Mikey Madison is amazing. Sean Baker is amazing. Some really good supporting performances here. I think that this film could do incredible.
Totally. And just spoiler alert, I guess, there is one movie in my top 3 that I don't really think has as big a shot at winning Best Picture as the other 2, and it isn't this one.
Oh, yeah, no, me too. Yeah. I think it's probably the same movie.
Definitely. But lock this in for a Best Picture nomination for director, screenplay, actress, and potentially a win or 2 or 3 or 4 out of those.
Yeah. I think that this could be a big winner come Oscar night.
The only thing I think holding it back from a higher placement is outside of these big categories, I don't think it's particularly strong, like in the texts. I don't know.
I think it could get an editing.
I think it could get an editing. It's really going to depend on just how much passion for it there. Like, if it's the front runner for picture, definitely throw it a couple more, just because that's how that works.
Mm-hmm. I think just particularly with editing, you'll see Tar got an editing nomination.
That's true.
Sure. So you'll see these more quaintly edited films get editing nominations, and I think that Anora fits that bill. Also, I think maybe it could get I don't know, a sound, probably not a sound,
maybe
a costume potentially. I think that one could fit. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you've seen it, so you're biased, but I also haven't seen it, so I'm in my own way kind of biased against it. So who knows?
Who knows? All right, well, we're gonna move on to my number 3, Dune Part 2.
Ooh,
where do you have this?
This is my number 1.
Oh, is this your film that you don't think will win Best Picture?
Yeah. And the reason I have it at number 1 despite that is when you approached me with this idea, it was less a Best Picture ranking and more just ranking Oscar contenders in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel more confident in it as a contender than our collective number 2. but like you can talk about why it's not going to win Best Picture.
Because it's the middle movie in a trilogy.
Yeah.
You know, it's sadly cursed with, you know, Lord of the Rings Two Towers syndrome, cursed with the syndrome of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And that's also like, that is really why I don't have it higher than number 3. I'm worried about something like what happened with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse happening to this film, where people see it and people are like, oh my God, this is the best movie I've ever seen. But then come Oscar time, it's like, well, we know a third movie is coming out. And then they don't honor this middle one as much as they will ideally honor the third one. And after we saw that happen with like a Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, I'm kind of assuming that that's going to be what happens with Dune Messiah, with, you know, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. I was forgetting for a second, you know, so that is why I have it a little lower, because I wouldn't be surprised if Denis got snubbed again. I wouldn't be. I don't think he will.
Happening.
That's
not happening. I'm sorry. That is not happening.
But it could.
Logan Thompson, I know you know a lot about movies, but so do I. It's not happening. I would bet my life savings that is not happening again. Will he win? I don't know. He will be nominated.
All right, well, let me give you 5 directors that could get nominated over him.
Okay, all right.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Sean Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve McQueen.
Probably, yeah.
Todd Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Then we got...
I don't think Todd Phillips is happening, though. He was nominated for... Okay.
Mohammed Rasulov, director of Seed of the Sacred Fig.
Yeah.
If Conclave is really good, Edward Berger.
Perhaps.
Big perhaps. Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah.
Yeah. Director of Nickel Boys. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
See, you can't remember his name off the top of his head. I don't think he's getting in based off of that.
Well, you never know. How good is Nickel Boys going to be?
I'm going to shut the Todd Phillips train down. Todd Phillips was the number 5 that year. Mm-hmm. So for Joker 2, it's not happening. Sorry.
What if Joker 2 is miles better than Joker 1?
It's Joker 2. It's not the sequel of the year. It's not the Warner Bros. Sequel of the year.
You never know. I'm just saying.
The floor for Dune 2 is the first Dune, because there is so much more passion for Dune 2 than the first Dune had. First Dune had 6 wins. Yeah, 6 wins. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I think, was it 10 nominations or more?
Yeah.
Something like that.
But then if you're saying that the floor for Dune 2 is Dune 1, then you are saying that there's a chance that Denis does not get a director nomination.
But I think the ceiling is way higher. And I
agree. What I'm saying is the floor.
I'm going to fight you on this. Because despite the fact that I don't think it's winning, which, by the way, like, I understand the whole not giving it to the second movie when we know there's a third movie, but also... Lord of the Rings and Across the Spider-Verse, we knew when they came out that there was a third movie. Dune Messiah wasn't technically announced until after Dune 2 was released. And I also just, like, it's horrible, because what if Dune Messiah isn't as good as Dune 2? It's going to be very hard to be as good as Dune 2. And I don't want, like, the third movie in a trilogy to get screwed by that. Because also, like, I'm pretty sure Two Towers was a Best Picture nominee. Like, it didn't fly under the radar until Return of the King. Not that the first Dune did, but I don't know. Dune 2 train, what up?
Listen, I want Dune 2 to do well. I'm not trying to say that I don't. I'm just saying that I do see possibilities for it to not do as well as we want it to. This is still my second favorite movie of the year.
Yes, I agree with you. But given that it's going to be a Best Picture nominee, I think it's going to be a Best Director nominee, I think adapted screenplay, I think score, I think editing, I think visual effects, it's winning, I think cinematography, it's winning, sound, production design, costumes, maybe even makeup and hair. You cannot deny this juggernaut of an Academy player that Dune 2 is. You cannot.
No, it is a juggernaut, which is why we both have it so high.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's talk about Sing
Sing. We need to talk about Sing Sing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our collective number 2.
Yeah.
So, tell me, Why?
Tell you, I'm going
Yeah.
first.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has an uphill battle because it is, we talked about this last time, it is coming out kind of in like that past lives type time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And while Past Lives had to contend with Barbenheimer, Sing Sing does not. Dune 2 is already out, which is, I think, like the biggest comparison to Barbenheimer that we would have this year.
Yeah.
It's really just gonna depend on how much passion there is, because this is a crowd pleaser. This is a nice, like, feel good movie. I think Coleman Domingo is my number one for actor right now. I think this is probably winning adapted screenplay as it stands. I would throw Clarence Macklin in for supporting actor. I think it's just gonna hit enough. It could be like a holdovers type thing where like there's a really strong lead actor, everybody loves it, the screenplay's awesome, but it just doesn't have the juice to like boost it ahead of something like Anora or Dune or whatever. But I think it has a very strong chance at Best Picture. I think this would be kind of blending Coda winning Best Picture with like maybe a little more stylistic sensibility that the Academy seems to now have
Yeah.
after they added new members. I think it's the best of both worlds. It has competition. That's what's dragging it down. Is I think it's the kind of movie that I don't see doing super well when there is strong competition,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel good about it. I think everyone is going to like it, and I think Dune 2 has something working against it, and I don't know if Anora is so strong that you can lock it in above it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. My other caveat, though, to not necessarily comparing it to past lives from last year is that last year A24 also had two films that they were pushing for the Oscars: Past Lives and Zone of Interest. This year, like Sing Sing is A24's Oscar movie.
Yeah.
They're putting all their eggs into this basket. It really seems like. Unless last minute they really try to push like Parthenope or something. But I think like Cannes kind of showed that Parthenope is just not in the cards for A24. So I think A24 is going to put everything into Sing Sing. And because of that, I think that just helps. You know, A24 has been a huge Oscar studio
Yeah.
ever since like Moonlight.
Right.
So I just think that alone is really helpful. Coleman Domingo, just all the buzz, you
Yeah.
know, it's something that we've been talking about since TIFF, essentially, like TIFF last year, and it still hasn't even come out yet. It comes out in July. So if we've already been talking about it since like October or September when TIFF was going on, why won't we still keep talking about it and buzzing about it after its release?
Because it just might be too long. That's the worry for me. Is like it's been on my radar so
Mm-hmm.
much longer than a lot of these other movies, even the like some of the big blockbusters. I just it's such a small movie
Yeah.
that I feel like it is going to be really hard for it to maintain that level of conversation all the way until the Oscars. Could it happen? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the odds are stacked against it. I would like to be proven wrong. I've heard amazing things. I think I'm going to
Yeah.
love it. But we'll see. I also, side note, you passing on it during Smash or Pass is the only reason this isn't my number one.
Why?
You just mentally dragged it down for me a little. I don't know.
Passing on its box office?
Just passing on its box office. I
Mm-hmm.
think you either passed or almost passed just on excitement.
No, I did not almost pass on excitement.
You
No, that
did.
was
You
for
did. Go. No,
no.
go back. Go back and
Okay, I'll
listen.
go back because I'm
Go
excited for
back.
this movie.
Yeah. You said you think
I
it was going to be very good, but you just didn't know if you were personally looking forward to it.
maybe.
I
Okay.
re-listened to our episode at the gym. I was like, what is this dude talking about?
All right. Well, I'm excited for it now.
Yeah.
So there you go. But anywho, for me with Sing Sing, like my other thing is that last year we saw the Oscars enjoy films that sort of feature writers, American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah.
This is a film that sort of features actors. It highlights
Actors.
actors in a prison. That's what this is all about. So I think that could really help with a SAG ensemble. And SAG Ensemble is
Totally.
one of the big precursors to Best Picture. So if
Yeah.
this can do really well with the SAG Ensemble, Best Actor, Coleman Domingo, maybe some supporting characters in here, I think that that could be a huge push for this film.
I
Anyways, I think we
feel
should
I
get
feel better
going.
about Coleman Domingo winning actor than I think I do any other major category right
Me
now.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one issue is Daniel Craig with Coleman Domingo, but I do think that Coleman Domingo has the path of Rust nomination, Sing Sing win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on.
All right. Well, let's just unveil something before we start talking about Disney and Pixar. Let's just unveil the fact that Inside Out 2 made not the projected by the numbers $120.7 million. No, not the $80 million some people are saying it was going to make a few weeks ago, and really up until a week before it came out. Not $100 million or just like, 83 in the ballpark of like Dune 2 or something. No, Inside Out made $155 million,
Nuts.
the second biggest animated movie opening of all time, with a caveat of the fact that if Mario did not technically release during the week before its first weekend, it probably would be in the spot or even at number one. But still,
Yeah.
so kind of this should be like number 3 on that list, but at the end of the
Still
day, that's
nuts.
still insane.
Yeah.
After we've had such a bummer year, after Disney has been taking L after L after L ever since Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are, where suddenly Pixar just almost doubled the second highest opening of the year, Dune 2.
Crazy.
Yeah. So insane. So before we start talking about the box office more, I want to talk about Pixar after Inside Out and
Let's
our
do it.
thoughts on where they're going to go. Because I think before this film, people were very worried.
The future was bleak. Like
And yeah.
when Pete Docter of all people, director of first Inside Out, Up, Monsters Inc., like Soul, said that they were not going to focus on original stories anymore, like that was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But here we
But
are.
yeah. And I think that things are going to end up going great. So let's talk about this. Ethan, I have some thoughts written out on the doc.
You
You don't
do.
have anything that you put on
I
there. So I
don't.
just want to hear from you before I dive into what I think.
I think you should dive into what you think because I kind of agree with all of it.
Oh, okay. Well, then in that case, here's my prediction for Pixar's future plan. Short term, we're going to get a lot more sequels. Whether or not you like it, the success of Inside Out 2 making almost $160 million, almost doubling Dune 2's gross in its opening weekend, I think really shows that Pixar can still dominate with sequels. This is going to get people back in the movie theaters to see Pixar films. It's going to generate more excitement for Disney, more revenue for Disney. It's going to be big. I'm expecting sequels. I think my biggest one I'm expecting a sequel for is Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's going to get greenlit for a sequel. I also wrote Ratatouille. I wrote The
There.
Incredibles.
Wait, can we back it up to Ratatouille?
Yep. Okay.
Hear me out, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Ratatouille.
That might be it. They could totally do that.
Like just as a sequel name, they can't not do that.
That just could happen. Yeah.
Continue.
The Incredibles 3. Make it a trilogy.
Yep.
Why not? Probably will end up happening. Superhero movies typically are trilogies anyways. And I think eventually Coco. I think
Probably.
those 4. Also, we already have Toy Story 5 greenlit. So that's in the works now and coming out next year. We'll probably get an Inside Out 3.
Probably.
So there you go. Up to Ratatouille, Incredibles 3, Coco 2, Toy Story 5. Oh, and then maybe Finding Marlin.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, Finding Marlin. So there you go. That's short term.
They're not going to bring Ellen back, are they?
They probably will. They kind
Oh
of
dear.
could anybody else voice Dory that's not Ellen?
Someone could do an impression. I don't know.
I think it has to be Ellen, like it or not, and I don't mind it. I rewatched both movies last night. They're pretty good. I'm
The
not gonna
number
lie.
of problematic people from that Oscars selfie is actually baffling.
Yeah, it is kind of baffling, isn't it? Anyways, long term, however, I think that they're going to shift from all these sequels to making more and more original films. Because at the end of the day, what seems to be working for Pixar's formula is that they make these films. They're going to make, like, they have Soul that they made, like all these other original films that they've been making. They're going to be releasing Elio. They're going to release other originals. They're not going to stop doing that,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, their business is then waiting 5 to 10 years in making a sequel.
And there's only so many movies that they have currently to make sequels to that
Exactly.
they haven't already.
Like, maybe we could also see A Bug's Life too.
I would, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's something I forgot to throw up there. Yeah, we haven't seen A Bug's Life sequel yet. So, and that was their second ever film. So, yeah, Bug's Life 2, throw that up there. So,
give us Cars 4. Don't give us Cars 4.
Yeah, I think Cars is kind of dead.
Please.
I think Cars is dead. Probably.
As much as I actually like 2 of the movies, just don't go there.
Yeah. I'm assuming that it's a trilogy and that's it. Plus planes.
Yeah. Oh, don't remind me that exists.
Which isn't even Pixar. It's very odd how that
it's not, but there's
works.
2 of them. I saw them both in a theater somehow.
I never saw the second one. I did see the first one in the theater.
I don't remember anything about it.
Well, there you go. And so anyways, because these films, even though they're original, because one, you're going to have the success of these sequels being made now, and then two, because at the end of the day, the box office success of like an original film won't matter because it'll gain popularity on Disney Plus. All these films end up doing really well on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And then later down the line, when it gets more popular on Disney Plus, when it's like more of a cult classic, you wait essentially a generation, Yeah. You release a sequel. Like, I really would not be surprised if one day we got an Elemental 2.
No.
I'm just saying.
Please don't.
Like Elemental 2. And it's perfect. What does the fire water baby look like?
I don't remember, because I don't care.
No, but that's the thing. We don't know what this fire water baby looks like yet because I never had the baby.
I didn't even know that. That didn't even process. I don't care about Elemental.
I know you don't, but maybe you will in 5 years. It had
one of the weirdest box office stories of last year.
It did.
That's about it.
Yeah. Next to Sound of Freedom.
That.
Yeah. Not a great movie to be next to.
This is 2 episodes in a row that you've mentioned Sound of Freedom.
Wow.
Is there something you're not telling us, Logan?
I'm secretly a racist, homophobic, misogynistic Christian man.
I knew it. Dang it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Box office.
Yeah. Box office. Okay, well, wait. What do you think of my thoughts, though?
I agree with all of that. I think, even though there's been, this kind of general Pixar is not as great as they used to be, because I think that starts in 2011 with Cars 2. I think Toy Story to Toy Story 3 is an incredible run. But then even after that, the first Inside Out was 2015. Coco was 2017. People still liked some of the sequels after that. Everyone loved Soul. That was 2020. Mm-hmm. And now Inside Out 2 seems to be doing amazing, and people like it. That's 2024. You've still had stepping stones along the way. So I don't think they're going to can original movies when, they have had... I think, even a Luca maybe would have done much better, or even Turning Red, if they weren't just dropped on Disney+. Mm-hmm. And I think, Lightyear is the most dismal out of all of these, I think, and that kind of was based on something. So I think they're going to continue to do what they've been doing, of kind of just jumping back and forth between them.
Yeah, and honestly, I actually kind of like Lightyear, so I'm in a minority here. I had a lot of fun with that movie.
No.
Anyways, so
You
I'm
liked
just
evil old Buzz?
I did,
Wow, okay.
but really I like the cat.
Get out of here. I like the cat. Doesn't mean I have to like the
The
movie.
cat was amazing.
Yeah, you can like a part of
So
a
good.
movie. You can like a piece of a movie.
Made the movie for me.
Box office.
Okay, let's talk about the box office. Well, we already talked about this, but Inside Out 2 did make $155 million this
Crazy,
weekend.
nuts, wild.
Yeah, big nuts moment here. Like I
Yo,
said
what?
before, it was projected. It was projected to make 120.7. So
It
it
was
went
projected to
way
make 80
over
before that.
projected. Yeah. So like it just shot right by projections. Now Deadpool and Wolverine is projected to make up to $250 million. I don't know if you saw
Wow.
that.
I
Yeah.
didn't. No, that's nuts.
So the summer box office is going a little crazy now after a
Finally.
dismal May.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bad Boys Ride or Die, $33 million with a 42% drop.
I will
Have
see
you
this
seen
someday.
this yet? You will?
I will see
Good.
this someday.
It's funny because I remember when you were like, I'm never going to see this movie. Now you're like, I will see it someday.
I wasn't gonna see it, but then it got like decent reviews, and you really liked it, and it's like I don't know, it looks fun.
Yeah, it's the action really.
Yeah,
Like that's why this
I
movie's
love
as
good
good
action.
as it is. It's the gimmicky type of action where every action sequence has a gimmick that makes it interesting. And the comedy is fine. And
It's
also
okay.
sexy Will Smith.
Sexy Will Smith.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
All right, number 3. I remember texting you about this. This one is nuts.
This is wild.
I guess this film was just the Father's Day film of the weekend.
I feel like Bad Boys would have been.
Maybe both were.
Okay.
Because Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is number 3. Made $5.2 million. Dropped 4% from its $5.4 million last weekend. This is unheard of.
Someone explain this. This is so random.
Just like, oh, did people like Inside Out 2? And they were like, oh, let's go see the other Disney movie. Because we liked Inside Out 2 so much. And then they saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Just reaffirms this is the year of the monkey movie.
Yeah. But also reaffirms that Disney is back.
Yeah.
Because Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Inside Out 2 are the two big stories of this weekend. Bad Boys Ride or Die is the third biggest story of this weekend box office wise.
Yeah.
It had a really solid hold, but like minus 4% drop on 8 movie. Of. And then Inside Out 2 made $155 million. Yeah. So just like the fact that those two things happened to the Mouse House this weekend, I mean, Disney's back in full swing.
Is it time to talk about Garfield, though? Because I want to talk about Garfield for a second.
All right. $5 million, drop 50%. What do you want to say?
Guys, there's a Garfield movie in theaters right now. Please go see it. I haven't, but, like, go see it. That's all.
I love that. Yeah. Imagine taking your kids and being like, hey, kids, what movie do you want to see this weekend? They're like Inside Out 2. And then you're like, actually, no, let's go see Garfield.
$5 million worth of families had that exact story, though, this weekend.
Seriously. Or maybe the Garfield watchers were the like all those Disney haters who are like, we hate Disney so much, we're going to go and see Garfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any parent who like was wronged by their ex and their ex was a Disney adult took their kids to go see Garfield. So watches.
It did really good for a horror movie.
Yeah.
Dropped 48%.
Which is less than 50, and usually it's more than 50 for horror movies.
Usually it's like more than 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good for the watchers. Maybe all the negative buzz about it has gotten people to be like, oh, everybody's saying this is bad. Why is it so bad?
That's why I went to see it. I wanted to know why people didn't like it.
There you go. So. Like that's what's happening to the Acolyte right now.
Is it?
Yeah. The Acolyte is bad. It's
I've heard.
Episode 3. Oh, episode 1 and 2 were kind of promising. Episode 3,
I have heard the legend of episode 3 and how bad it is. But why? Why is just one episode so bad?
it just is.
Okay.
Moving on.
If
If?
if
What if we talked about If?
let's not. I don't care for it.
But what if it made $3.45 million and dropped 56% at the box office?
You still haven't seen it, right?
No,
Okay, don't.
I want to,
Don't.
but I want to.
I understand wanting to have like no movies throughout the year that I have seen that you haven't, because like you're supposed to be that guy that sees everything and not me. But like unnecessary. At least
Yeah,
don't
but I kind of want
just
to
don't go to
see
a
it.
theater. Don't pay to see it at a theater.
But I kind of want to support movies like these because movies like these are actually original.
Right,
With,
but they're bad. If is
yeah, but
bad. It's not going to be here in a couple weeks, and in the next couple weeks when it's still here, we're just going to kind of skim past it.
yeah.
We don't need 5 minutes of you going, "Oh, I watched If this week," and then we talk about it again.
I feel like I'm gonna do that just to spite you.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
So now I can be like, "Oh, I watched If this week."
Please don't. No, when I see Bad Boys, we'll talk about it. But like, you liked Bad Boys, so that's not torture for you. I don't want to think about this movie. Can we talk about Furiosa?
Yes,
for 10
let's talk
seconds,
about
please.
Furiosa. Made $2.4 million, dropped 42%, which is not bad for Furiosa, which was dropping way worse before that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on.
The Fall Guy.
The Fall Guy.
$1.5 million, dropped 42%, just like Furiosa. Oh my God, they're twinning.
Yo.
Wow.
Yo.
Twinning and the percentage dropped.
Yo, that's nuts.
Great way to be twinning right there. Yeah.
What else? We got the Strangest. We got the
Strangest made $760,000, dropped 58% at the box office. Good for the Strangers, I guess.
Yep.
It's still in the top 10. And we were talking about when comparing Dune 2 to a certain trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
That trilogy being Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings?
And look at this. At number 10, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, yeah.
$633,000.
Oh,
dropped 74% at the box office.
You know it.
Played only one day, I believe Friday.
Yeah.
Or Saturday. One of those 2 days.
It played Saturday because Two Towers is playing today, Sunday, when we're recording. And then tomorrow, or yesterday for the people listening, is Return of the King, which I'm seeing on the big screen. Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
So hype. I haven't even gotten my ticket yet. I should.
Hours?
Yeah, I'm going to sit there for 4 hours.
Good for you.
A 4-hour movie that ends 3 hours in, and then the rest of it is just all 7 of the endings, and then half an hour of credits. For real. For real.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So hyped.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, well, shall we talk about next weekend?
The Bike Riders!
The Bike Riders, yes.
They ride their bikes.
Next weekend. So there are some projections for this film that we are going to go over or under for.
Let's hear what you have to say first.
$7 to $12 million of projections, so we're going to give it a solid 9.5 for over or under.
All right. Here are my thoughts on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good original movie. People want more of those.
Yes.
Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, Mike Faced, who was in Challengers recently. People like that. Jodie Comer's here. Michael Shannon's here. That one guy from The Walking Dead, he's here too. So, like, good cast. Good vibes I'm getting from the trailer. I like the vibes. There was, like, one clip of an article that was, like, Goodfellas on Harley Davidson's. This is a great post-Father's Day movie.
Yeah, I think
this
so
too. This should have been a Father's Day movie.
It didn't want to compete with Inside Out 2.
That
would have been fine counter-programming.
Yeah, like no one's going to see both of those.
Yeah.
Besides us.
Yes.
I'm going to go...
Probably other people.
I'm going to go 10.2.
Yeah, I'm also leaning somewhere in that range, like very close to the 9.5. But I think it's like a 10.5, maybe even an 11.
An 11?
Yeah. I think it's a solid third place at the box office next weekend.
Yeah.
When things are all said and done.
Definitely.
We also have a couple of noteworthy other films going on. We have Thelma, a film that I actually saw at AMC Screen Unseen last week. It was fun. Old lady on an old lady scooter, you know, kind of doing the beekeeper thing where somebody scammed her and she's trying to get that revenge.
So is she is it that lady from The Beekeeper who got scammed if she was the main character?
Yeah, pretty much.
And like there wasn't like a Jason Statham middleman to like seek vengeance for her?
Yes. And then if the organization scamming her was much smaller, and if the film was not about the action but about a character study of this older woman.
I mean, it's hard to compete with the president's son.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty large scale.
It is pretty large scale, indeed.
I feel like Jason Statham's the only guy that could take that on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, there's a film called The Exorcism coming out. I'll take a wild guess who stars in this film.
I do know this. I just don't.
Oh, remember. You do? Oh.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe.
I was right.
And the thing is that, do you remember what he starred in last year?
It was The Pope's Exorcist, right?
Yes. And these films have
Are they connected?
No, they have nothing to do with one another.
That's hilarious. I love that.
So we have back-to-back Exorcist movies.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
With Russell Crowe.
Why?
And they're not connected.
Why?
I don't know.
If Russell Crowe wanted to be part of some Exorcist cinematic universe, that's fine. This is much worse than that.
It is. It very much is.
Is he gonna start being typecast as that guy in exorcism movies?
Maybe. And I think that's kind of all we got aside from talking about our next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, do you want to talk a little bit about next episode, or do you want me to do the honors?
So next episode.
When's the next episode coming out?
Next episode's coming out on Friday. So that's 3 days from now. If you're listening to this on the day it came out, it's 2 days for us because we're recording on Tuesday, Ratatouille. Hey, we're talking about Inside Out 2, and we're just gonna discuss our thoughts on it. And unless that you had something else planned, that's the episode.
No, we planned a little more than that.
I guess. What?
Planned...
Oh, you wanted to do a top animated movie list?
Yes, but also Pixar sequels versus originals.
We kind of talked about that.
That was your idea. Yeah, but we're gonna. I think we can go more in depth.
Okay. You just want to make it another hour and a half long episode. I
want it to be 2.5 hours. Actually, thank you very much.
Please, I have stuff to do. I don't, but
I do too.
That. Yeah, you actually do. I don't, but I don't know.
Yeah, but are
we just gonna do a basic? Top animated movies? I feel like that's too basic.
I kind of do want to just do a basic one.
All right.
Our 10 favorite animated movies. Because we've never really talked about animated movies with each other.
We haven't. And that's good, because for my podcast, I think I want to do a Pixar ranking. So, good that we don't do it here, so that then I can do it there.
I think it's kind of fun to just do our 10 favorites. And
I actually have to make this list now. I've never made this list before.
There you go.
All right.
Not necessarily 10 best, because I think 10 best, I would include something like a Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I'm not including my 10
Stop
favorite.
Spoiling your list. Why are you already spoiling your list?
I know.
I didn't know that. I don't want to go in knowing that.
Well, now you know that Fantastic Mr. Fox is not on my 10 favorite.
I'd be including it anyway, and now I have to, because otherwise we won't talk about it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Spoilers! Oh no, where'd you go? Logan?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you're using your laptop audio, but I can hear you.
I think my microphone died.
No! Okay, let's end this before it gets deleted, please.
Oh, it's not gonna get deleted. I'm not worried about that.
Oh no, ear rape Logan is back. Okay. Let's sign off.
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm getting paranoid.
Let's sign off. Alright, well, I'm Russell Thompson.
Up.
Peace.